If you've been around the channel a while, then you know that we leave nothing stock here at Gamer Heaven, so it's time to grab Phil Spencer's big black bazooka console. That sounded not great. Definitely better verbiage for that. We're gonna take this $500 chunk of plastic and turn it into a one-off, unique Xbox Series X. How are we gonna do that, AK-40 Kevin? Inexpensively and easily. Because I'm cheap and I'm lazy. But I also like nice looking shit. We're gonna partially disassemble the console to install an RGB kit from Extreme Rate. It has a remote control, so you can color match your theme or setup. Then after getting stiffed or shafted with a very crappy vinyl wrap that in no way, shape, or form was designed for the Series X, we're gonna sample 4 different vinyl decals or skin kits from 4 different companies and pick a winner. Surprise, surprise, it's this dank-ass Rick and Morty theme. Then I'm gonna take a lime green rubber USB plug and shove that into the front suck hole. Then I'm gonna top this cream cake with a little cherry, i.e. a translucent sticker for the Xbox button. Then I'm gonna call it a day because I'm pretty tuckered out after that. Let's get it. So the very first thing you need to do to safely disconnect your Xbox Series S or X from the wall is to go into the settings and then go to full shutdown. If you just press the Xbox button on the controller and go to shut down, that is just putting your console into sleep or standby mode, and you could potentially damage it if you yoink the power cable out. Granted, these consoles do have safeguards in place in case there is a power outage, but it's best just to shut the sucker down. So the items we're going to be using for today's build or console customization is going to be a Waffle Microfiber, some ammonia-free glass cleaner, some rubber USB plugs, an Xbox original theme vinyl or decal kit from Go Truth, some translucent stickers from Extreme Rate to go over the Xbox button, and then this LED RGB kit from Extreme Rate with remote control. All of these items were paid for with my own money, except for this item, which was sent out by Extreme Rate, so thank you. So I've already taken the liberty of dusting and cleaning the Xbox Series X off camera. I would recommend you use something lint-free, so not paper towels. And then if you are going to use some kind of a glass cleaner to clean your consoles or controllers, any plastic components, I do have a couple of tips for you. Make sure that it is bleach and ammonia-free because that will actually stain or fade some of the plastics, especially on a dark color like this matte black Series X over here. And do not spray the cleaning solution directly on the console. Spray it on the rag first and then wipe it. You'll get less streaks and you'll minimize the risk of actually damaging your console. That microfiber as well as this foaming glass cleaner will be linked in the description below. So as it is the most involved process of this build, I am going to install the RGB kit first. It goes around the inside of this exhaust fan. However, it does not block the exhaust fan whatsoever. Now, my whole theory with this build is I'm definitely running with that Xbox original theme, so black with subtle lime green color pops. And stay tuned to the end of the video because I also have a controller to be on display right next to this console, as well as a little tweak in the Xbox software to make this thing really stand out. Well, we're actually not starting with the light kit because I got sent the wrong model. This is for the PS5 side fan. So we're just gonna put this back in the baggie. This kit, in my opinion, is kind of pointless. Now, I do have RGB lights on my PS5s, but those are the ones that bleed through the vents and are definitely visible and addressable with the remote control. This kit is to go around the outside of the exhaust fan, which is exposed on both sides, but you wouldn't ever see this because there's a side panel that's blocking it. The only way you would see it is if you get D-Brand's Dark Plates 2.0, which had that cutout for the vent on the side. So unless you get that, which I do think those two parts would look really sick together, but with a stock side plate, you're not gonna even see these, so weird. I don't know the purpose of that. Let's break into this bad boy. I mean, it's not a robbery. I did pay for this. Okay, you got some controller decals. These are getting filed away in the trash bin. Here at Gamer Heaven, we disassemble and hydro dip controllers. I don't really put stickers on controllers, but vinyl decals, skins, or wraps can look pretty sweet on consoles, and I don't feel like fully disassembling the Series X. I feel like I should have something down on the desk to not only protect my desk, but the console. Now, granted, it is sitting on the rubberized feet. You know, better safe than sorry, I've always said. Also, another RGB kit that I'm not too fond of is for the Series X, and it is the one that goes around the bottom stand here. The reason I don't like that one is I think it is really tacky when you have RGB lighting, but you can actually see the individual LED lights or dots. To me, having the subtle glow behind a desk or a television, or, you know, for example, out of the exhaust port here where you don't actually see the LED lights in there, but just the RGB glow through it, that looks pretty sweet. Exposed LED lights are so 90s. Like back in the day, I had like a big blue strip running around the floorboards of my room and stuff, but people don't do that anymore. I do recommend dusting off and making sure that she's well degreased and whatnot. Not that you should have any grease on your console. I mean, I don't know what you do with her. Each time you have to readjust these, you do lose adhesion or its stickiness. So I recommend trying to get her right the first time if you can. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna stand her up so she can stare me right in the brown eye while I put this on. Oh yeah, that's way easier. Easy peasy, squeezy lemon. Shit. Now I could edit this part of the video out so it just looks like I got it first try and I'm some kind of, you know, god tier vinyl wrapper, but I keep it real, as the kids say. Oh fuck, I'll never see my power button again, damn it. Oh geez, Rick. This thing is looking sweet. From that distance, don't get any closer. So one of two things has happened. I either have a special edition Xbox Series X Pro that has dual GPUs and is slightly bigger, or more likely the company that makes these vinyl wraps doesn't physically own a Series X where they could get the measurements correctly because their cutouts are like a millimeter off. Let me show you what I mean. You're either going to be lined up with the controller pairing button as well as this USB port, but not over here with the disc eject and the power button. However, it's not only not wide enough, but it's also not tall enough. So there is no way to line up the power button with the disc eject button. What you could do if you really like this design and you don't want to go through the hassle of returning or God knows whatever, you could just cut this out, but then you're going to have an ugly little gap there. Same thing on this side. All you have is a little emblazed Xbox logo here, but look at the gap right there. That's about 1/8 of an inch. Trust me, I used my personalized measuring stick. It's 1/8 of an inch. So as you can see, these rubberized feet, if you're going to lay it horizontally, are lined up. These two up here, not so much. Now, I did also try and stretch the vinyl out a little bit. What you could do is get a heat gun, which I do have one in the garage, but there's only so much you can actually heat up and expand these vinyl wraps. And the fact is, their measurements simply are not correct. So as cool as this looks, and it does look pretty cool, this is going to go ahead and get returned to Amazon. These units are all built to spec. They're all identical. It's not like you're going to get an Xbox Series X that's like, oh, mine's 1/4 inch longer than my buddy's. Go ahead and whip out your ruler and compare your length with your buddy, of your consoles here. So thus far, we're 0 for 2 with this build as far as parts working. Now, old Kevin might have gotten frustrated and done a drive-by to blow off some steam, but I've gotten a lot more chill over the years, so stuff like this just doesn't really bother me. And I think the reasoning for that is, having reviewed so many products on the channel, I've encountered a lot of just crappy generic products. So what I'm going to do is go through an actual reputable company that knows what they're doing, like Extreme Rate, that sells vinyl wraps. They actually make the vinyl kit that's on one of my PS5s right now, which I am a little bummed out because I thought this design was really cool. It just doesn't fit. So I ended up getting 4 different vinyl decal or sticker kits from 4 different companies. Yes, one of them is the same Xbox original and it is from the same company, as they are the only ones that make this graphic. I just wanted to see if they're all effed up or just the first one that I got. One of the things I like about the places that I shop, which is Walmart, Amazon, and the Navy Exchange, is they have a no questions asked return policy. So you can return anything you don't want, literally no questions asked. It doesn't have to be damaged or the wrong size or anything. It's just, you could be like, didn't really tickle my fancy down there in the gamer jiddly bits, and then they'll take it. And the cool thing about Amazon, UPS will actually pick it up from your doorstep. You get a prepaid label, you slap on the box, on the tuchus of it, and they'll pick it up right there at your door. It's easy as pie. The graphics I got here, we got this Halo Master Chief joint right here, which I want to break into right now. Now these ones are incredibly glossy and also high resolution. They look very, very good. Colors are rich and vibrant, but they are glossy, which I'm not a huge fan of. I prefer a matte, flat look for my consoles. Ooh, these smell chemically. I like it. And this also does come with a full sticker set for a series controller, which I personally don't ever put decals or stickers on my controller. I would prefer to disassemble them and hydro dip them with a permanent graphic. I just don't like decals or stickers on a controller. Not just because they don't look very good and they're a little bit tacky, but also they feel generally uncomfortable. You can feel where there's a crease on your hand. You can tell that it's kind of thicker than it should be, and it's just not great. Now, this is probably what I'm going to end up putting on here. I absolutely love this. This is incredibly high resolution and is a bomb-ass Rick and Morty graphic. And one of the things I really do like about this one is that it is primarily lime green. Since I was trying to originally go with a black and lime green build, as this is, you know, a Microsoft Xbox, this is cool. It's still kind of supporting that lime green, which you can see I already have the little USB plug in there. Very nice. Then we have the original Xbox design, which initially did not fit. Maybe it was just a wonky batch or something. Maybe this is gonna fit. Oh, this is completely different. This might be a different company and everything, because this has plugs for the I/O in the back where all the plugs are. This is a completely different kit, so that's hopeful. And then we have this carbon fiber joint over here as well. Okay, I do like the texture of this one a lot. All I can give you guys is sight and sound. I can't give you smell or touch. I wish YouTube technology was there, but it just isn't yet. Maybe you'll hack into the Matrix here in a couple decades. I'm sure Elon Musk is working on something like that. But anyway, this feels, maybe I can represent it through sound. I'll try. Carbon fibery, like you can feel the little individual fibers in it, which is really cool. Also, it's kind of a nice satin reflective texture where it's not glossy, where it bounces all the light back at you, but it's also not flat or matte either. It's kind of a fine balance or blend between the two, like how this looks. Let's go ahead and try this original Xbox one real quick and see how she do. So this one actually is the right size and fits and everything. I'm just not a huge fan of the quality of this. The print isn't very high resolution. There's definitely a lot of pixelation in here. It looks like they used a smaller JPEG image and then blew it up on a bigger scale or canvas. So not a huge fan of that, and I probably won't be using this one. But this one actually fits though, so I can recommend this one, and we'll put it down there in the description below. All right, now the one I am extremely excited for, and that is the Rick and Morty pattern over here. Not only is it super high quality, but also, like I mentioned, it does have a lot of lime green in it. So let me show you what we're working with here, stallions and stallionettes. So you have the 4 sides of the Series X, and then the very far one over here is for 2 controllers. This is going to be completely wrapped head to toe, tip to tits. That looks absolutely amazing. Before we go any further putting on these graphics, we are going to go ahead and partially disassemble the console to add these RGB LED lights. Now, one thing to note immediately, when you remove this sticker, this will void your warranty with Microsoft. That is incredibly important to note, considering the extreme rate RGB kit that I installed on my PS5 does not void your warranty, considering Sony, well, encourages and expects you to remove the side panels, as they are going to be selling their own side panels. And also, that is how you get to the NVMe SSD expandable storage slot. So all you do with that kit is pop off the side panels, which are designed to come off, and then plug in via USB. As with the Series X, you do need to remove 2 T8 screws and pop off this back panel, thus partially disassembling your console, which Microsoft isn't a huge fan of. I'm going to try and keep the sticker intact so we can replace it, not only to give it a factory or OEM look, and then you can just remove those graphics and the RGB kit if you go to trade this into GameStop or sell it to somebody. But also, more importantly, if you do need to send this to Microsoft for some repairs, they might be none the wiser that this has been disassembled. So the best way to do that is to use something like a heat gun. If you don't have one of these bad boys, it's okay. You can go steal your girl's hair dryer and use that on its highest setting. However, these things retail for about 15 or 20 bucks on Amazon. They are linked in the description below. Let's go ahead and put this bad boy on its highest setting for about 10 to 15 seconds at about 6 inches away. Now, you don't want to hold it in the same spot for too long. You want to keep it constantly moving because this bad boy does get very hot. Hence the name heat gun. It's a gun. It gets hot. And if you hold it in the same spot, you will actually start melting the plastic or definitely shred the sticker here, which again, we are trying to reuse. Beautiful. I heard some plastic cracking, so that's when I know it's time to stop. Came off nice and clean. Sorry about that. And we're going to reuse her. There is also this small oval sticker. I guess that's technically an oval, right? That covers this section right here. You're definitely going to need to hit this one with a heat gun or a hair dryer because this is a very thick sticker with some very strong adhesive on it. So you're going to go ahead and unscrew these 2 T8 screws and then pry off the back plate. Now, I do think it is really cool. Zoom in a little bit. The screws are actually even lime green too, which I think is just really neat. Yes, I am using my Apple iWatch to zoom in and out. Super cool, right? I just got this thing. I can actually start and stop my recordings from this, and I get a little live motion preview of what's going on over there. That's just neat. Technology, man. Things are getting wild. Make sure you don't lose these screws, obviously. Now what you're going to do is take this little pry tool and pry up at the bottom here. There you go. That's a good noise to hear. And you're just going to pry off the back panel, kind of like this. Give her a little tug job. You have a little bit of foam in here around the I/O where all the ports and plugs are. Very nice, very nice. A little serial number sticker in there. This is what the ass end or the inside of the rump or tuchus of a Series X looks like. That's cool. There's a little Easter egg in here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. There's a Master Chief helmet right there. That is super duper cool. So to get the fan removed, it's relatively simple. You're going to go ahead and remove these 2 T8 screws and this plug right here. Now, you want to make sure that you grab it by the actual base of the plug. You don't want to yank out any wires or anything, or else you're going to have to do a little bit of soldering, and that's never a fun time, unless you enjoy soldering. I sure as shit don't. Have to give her a little muscle, but again, you don't want to rip out any of these wires. Then you've got 2 T8 screws, one here and one here, that you will need to remove. Want to lose these bad boys, make sure you set them aside somewhere safe. You can see where the APU is right in here, and you do have a big heat sink with cooling fins in there. Very interesting. Very nice to see the inside of a Series X. Kind of makes me want to disassemble the rest of my consoles to see what the guts look like. Now we're going to remove this center dish here, which is also T8. Awesome. Now we'll just be able to pull it out the side like that. Boom! And there's your fan right there. I believe it's 120 millimeter. Don't quote me on it, but you can quote my editor, Kevin. He's going to make it pop up on screen here.
Yeah, I'm editing your videos right now. It's actually a 130 millimeter fan on that bad boy, not 120. She got an extra 10 on the peen. That's a 130 millimeter.
There's the fan of a Series S.
You said the Series S, but you meant the Series X, you nonchalant, clumsy bitch. Blame Xbox for their janky naming convention. Xbox One S, One X, Series S, Series X. Just make it numerical like PlayStation. Thank you.
So if you wanted to upgrade this with an aftermarket model, like maybe a Noctua fan or a Cooler Master Silent, you could technically do that. Honestly, the Series S and X are pretty quiet, especially the Series S, because it has no optical disk drive and it's smaller. It's very quiet. All right, so you're gonna clean this off with these alcohol wipes over here. Like I said, this fan is actually very clean. There's not a speck of dust on her, so I'm probably gonna forego the step of wiping it down with the alcohol. I'm just gonna drink it instead. Just kidding, it's not that kind of alcohol. So once you've cleaned off this inner lip of the fan, you're gonna have these 3 little cutouts right here. You're gonna go in through the right side. Again, that is the right side with the LED strips. And how this board works, you have a little PCB or printed circuit board. You have an LED strip, obviously, for the lights. And then you have a splitter, and that's how you're gonna get your fan to work as well as the lights. So anyway, you're gonna slide it on in through this right hole over here. The right hole is always my favorite hole. Go ahead and remove this blue sticker from the back, and that will reveal the double-sided tape. Now you can stick it directly on like this. However, the instructions do recommend that you use these small pads here, these 3M double-sided tape dots, if you will. That is gonna give it a little bit more stickiness or adhesion. They're kind of a bitch to put on, and I'm lazy, so I'm just gonna stick it on like this. So if you're ghetto as fuck like me, just don't follow the instructions properly, and we can fuck our consoles up together. Okay, then you wanna press this down firmly. You wanna make sure that it's nicely depressed. You don't need to be depressed in order to make this work, but these do need to be depressed. Not hard enough to where you break one of the little LEDs. You do wanna make sure that this bad boy is in there nice and good like. Now, a little side note that is mentioned in the instruction manual is you do not want to install this RGB strip too low to where it interferes with the fan spinning, because the fan is only like 1/10 of an inch. I don't know how many millimeters that is, but it's very close to the edge here. If you install these too low, it's gonna be hitting the fan. But as you can see, I'm doing a little test spin here. She wouldn't lie to me. Awesome, and she is not hitting at all. Now you're gonna take this double-sided adhesive pad and you are gonna install one end to the bottom of the PCB or printed circuit board. Make sure it's firmly attached. And this is gonna go right here like this, with one cable off to the left and one to the front, like that. Now in the official Extreme Ray installation guide, which will be linked in the description below, it does show them moving this cable to the right side of this little metal peg right here, so that's what I'm gonna do as well. Then you're gonna carefully slide in your exhaust fan. It is on a little tray. Now you're gonna plug your fan into this purple port right here. You can't really install these incorrectly because they are different connectors. And then this one goes to the actual fan plug on the console itself right here. Make sure you don't tear out these ribbon cables or anything. Be careful now. Now keep in mind, a lot of heat comes off these components here. I would recommend having the wires off of all these metal components here. So if you can just run them along plastic trays, try and do that. There we go, a little wire tuck job. There it is. Now we're gonna go ahead and screw in these 2 T8 screws again, these black ones. Now it does say in their instruction manual as well as their official installation video to let this sit for about 24 hours to let the adhesive on the RGB strips kind of settle in before running the console. So that way you don't get all that additional heat, kind of loosening up the adhesive and maybe making your LED strip fall into your fan. So I'll get some glamour shots with it, but I am going to let it sit for about 24 hours before I do any intense gaming on this thing, where that exhaust fan is actually going to be working OT or overtime, if you will. So there's some plastic pins right here on the top. You're basically going to slide in the top first. I know you can't see, this isn't the best angle, I apologize. And then there's some plastic clips on the bottom, which will snap in. Just like that, you heard a bunch of shit snap. Then you have the 2 green T8 screws. You are gonna return to their home. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Let's put her face down, ass up one more again. I'm not quite done yet. There we go. Once I plug it in and do an initial test to make sure the exhaust fan is functioning and the RGB lights work, we are gonna return these 2 stickers to give it that OEM look, and Microsoft will be none the wiser, besides the fact that there's RGB bleeding through the top of their console. But again, you ever need to turn this thing in for any warranty work, or you decide to trade it into GameStop or sell it to Jerry down the street, I would remove the RGB strips so it looks like a factory console. So with the remote, you can adjust the brightness. That is its dimmest setting. This is the brightest, which, by the way, is incredibly bright. And then of course they have different modes, such as breathing, such as static colors, and then obviously scrolling through the spectrum, like that. Now, I really like how this is done because it bleeds through the exhaust vents, and I think it just looks really cool. And then if you want to turn them off completely to give yourself that factory OEM look, you can do that too. Of all 4 of the vinyl kits, this was by far my favorite skin because there were no compromises here. It's an awesome high-resolution, high-quality graphic. It's primarily lime green to go with that Microsoft theme. It is a flat matte finish, not glossy like that Master Chief one. It is a full 4-piece kit, so it even covers the back, which will never be seen, but still, just to know that the IO I/O, where all the ports and plugs is covered, is awesome. Now, this is a great addition to my entertainment center, especially the Microsoft Xbox side of the house. With that lime green, I have a Hyperkin Duke 20th anniversary that plays the original splash screen or startup screen every time you press that button in the center. On this console, I also installed a lime green rubber USB plug, which will keep dust out of that port, considering I never use the front port. And I also added a transparent or translucent sticker to the Xbox button as well. Everything came together beautifully, having that lime green RGB bleed through the exhaust port with that sweet high resolution Rick and Morty skin, and the Xbox 360 and original Xbox controllers right there next to that Master Chief action figure and Warthog, considering Halo Combat Evolved came out in 2001, the same year as the Xbox original, and basically built the platform. But it doesn't end there. I have one more little touch inside the Xbox OS, or inside the software.
So as you can see, I have the original Xbox background set as a dynamic theme. To get this set up, damn, this controller is dirty as shit. You're gonna press this niblet right here, go to my background, dynamic backgrounds, and then scroll over to the original, and you will get the original Xbox background from 2001. So the combination of that dynamic background and the Hyperkin Duke, which is a remake of the original Duke or Fatty, definitely is a nice throwback or homage to the first Xbox.
There is a tab on my YouTube channel, as well as the description in every video, to my merch store in case you're sick of being naked. I also have coupon and discount codes for many products, including custom controllers and gaming chairs, found only in the description of my videos. Check me out at Facebook Gaming, where I am a partner and upload a ton of exclusive gameplay content. Join the community Discord to chat with myself for the stallions and stallionettes of gamer heaven. And while I love each and every one of you bucking Broncos equally, if you want to become a stallion or stallionette by supporting myself as well as the channel, clicking on the membership tab allows you to become a member of Gamer Heaven, where you unlock a ton of exclusive perks. Smacking the thumbs up button, otherwise known as liking the video, will help it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, as well as tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, and honest gaming peripheral reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. And I'll see you tomorrow, because I upload daily. Usually. Most of the time. Peace.